Camera number 103 of 365 is the Chinon CE3 Memotron. I've already reviewed the CE2 Memotron, and like its predecessor, it takes the M42 screw mount. Now the camera does require batteries to operate, so let's just go ahead and put some batteries in there. So we need to place two LR44 batteries. And in the battery compartment it does have a plus sign right down at the bottom there. Probably can't see that, so that tells us we need to put our positive terminal down and then screw the battery cover door on. Now you'll notice there is an option to fit a motor wind on here, the terminals and film advance that locks into the film winder. Tripod mount, and then we have the little button that releases the film advance so that we can wind our film on. Just turning to the front, we have an exposure memory lock, hence the name of the camera, and then a flash sync port, and then on the other side we have our self timer. Okay, so let's just put our lens back on. Turning to the top of the camera, around the film rewind, which when lifted allows us to put our film in. You can see the metal shutter. We also have the film speed around the dial, and we have to use this little button on the left hand side there to move it to whatever film speed we have, because there is also exposure compensation dial which effectively changes our film speed. A nice inclusion of a shutter blind to block out the viewfinder when we're using it for perhaps astrophotographies or long exposures even. Now you notice, I won't do it there, let's just take that off. For some reason I've not, oh there we go. When the shutter button is pressed, we have a little illumination of light, which also then tells us that our battery is working. That can be a little distracting, I found, when using the camera, but also we have to make sure that we half press it to actuate the light meter, and then down the left hand side we have our shutter speeds with a needle that moves up and down. When it's set to auto, the camera is an aperture priority camera, so we change the shutter. The camera responds by setting the correct aperture, the film speed, shutter speed. Just a note, when we're using these screw lenses, particularly if they have an A and an M setting, we need to set it to the M setting, and that way when we shut down the aperture, the meter can read the correct exposure. So I suppose it's a closed aperture rather than open aperture exposure. Our shutter speeds, when we want to go manual, go from 4 seconds through to 1000, and bulb and our flash synchronization. On the other side we have our film advance and our shutter actuation button, which includes a most welcome lock button, which means we can't accidentally take an image. And that's it as far as camera number 103 goes, the Chinon CE3 Memotron.